podcast is produced by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment. It contains unsolicited and heavily biased opinions which are solely the views of the individuals involved. It does not include investment advice of any kind, and you are responsible for undertaking your own financial, including tax liability research relevant to your own individual circumstances.
Moving on. Now, the next segment we've got up, the new segment is how to Upland. And the first one we've got for that is pricing your properties for quick flips. Obviously, there's many different ways to, or many reasons to flip. This one we're going to focus on not FSA people, because that's a entirely different ball game unto itself. We're mostly talking about the people that they've upgraded from FSA, and they're in that interim period between, what is it, pro and director, which can be a real grind to get to. Anybody on chat want to dive in there with anything straight up? How do you price your properties for quick flips? Anybody? Any tips?
I will say right now it's quite hard because we are in a general bear market everywhere. So
yep.
Right now I will say just wait. But normally, if you can get 200% for a shitty property, then then it's worth it.
You're doing very well. Yeah. One of the mistakes I made way back in the day when I started was I would look at the floor price, and the floor price is the lowest price in any given neighborhood, city, area. And I would think, okay, the floor price is, say, 15,000 UPEX. And then I'd go and list 100 properties at 14,968. But then, yeah, it's too much. You need to balance how much you're selling at any one given point in time. There are strategic ways that you can play that, but as a new player, you're probably not looking to get involved in that thing. But the two main situations, I think, and Finsky's put this in his notes too, is the floor price and the markup price. So if the floor price is the lowest price in any given area, the markup price is the percentage over mint in that given area as well. So I don't know.
It's also usually a good idea to check the neighborhood price rather than the city price, because that can be two different things.
Yes, absolutely. And it can even go more micro than that. Now, I'm going to try something which I have never done on this show with my shitty laptop, is to share screen with Upland Live and actually do some scrolling on my touchscreen laptop. So we'll see how we go. See if we crash and burn. So I've just pulled up Santa Clara here, if you're on the Spotify. Now I've zoomed right out so I can see all of the borders of Santa Clara. I've pushed this little top teardrop button so it shows me the borders. And if we click this, I don't know, what's that, an apartment building or something, some weird button below that, it shows us the cheapest properties in Santa Clara. And going back to my wine of the week, unfortunately, there's no way to X out the USD dollar figures here to just get to the UPEX prices. But yeah, it shows you the cheapest property at the moment in Santa Clara is $24 US. And then if we do some scrollage, this is the part I don't like, $36.
There's some in between you're missing.
There is some every now and then, yeah. So you got to watch that.
Am I crazy, or did they used to have something like this?
What, toggle?
Yeah, like at the top. I kind of feel like it was a long time ago when I first started. They had more options in that sort by price thing.
You can click Control S, I think, on your computer, and then you can just type in the name of the property you want to search for.
Yeah,
and then it works.
Well, not the name of the property, like for like to separate the Fiat from the UPX sales.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, I don't remember, but I know on mobile it's a giant pain in the butt. So you can see what are the lowest prices in this city, but yeah, keep in mind prices, they change by the city, they change by the neighborhood, they change by location within the neighborhood, like if it's a collection, but it can also go much more micro than that. Like if we want to zoom in, if we've got properties in, say here, what's this, North Central. Now, there are ways that you can just zoom in and press that same button. It'll show you what the cheapest property is in North Central, but there may be a collection street that goes through there. So you got to watch out. And also there's things like the UDU has essentially 2 mini nodes here as well. Like I've got mine here in this area down here, and Cheese has a mini node up here. If you happen to have a property there and you just look at the floor price and you're going to list it there, well, somebody's going to gobble it up, probably us, and we're going to say thank you very much. So yeah,
That's my name.
But so do you want to, if you're doing a quick tutorial, do you want to get into some of the tools that make it even easier than what Upland has to offer?
yes, sir. I've got those ready to go. Not that one.
Do you want?
That's
And you're gonna use them by name, because I know people have preferences of who they use and who they don't.
what's this? Look at these bloody pop-ups. No, I'm going to exit. Yeah, no, I've got three of the main ones up. The three main ones are upex.land, which is upexland.me. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this is the one I use because it's the one I'm most familiar with. Although the version that we had prior to this was much more user-friendly. It has taken me a while to get used to this. Yeah, these sorts of tools are going to take your property listing to the next level. Absolutely. It is a bit clunky to work out what's going on here. You just have to spend some time playing around with all the various toggles. We're not going to dive into that for this, but yeah, there's lots of options here. So that's one of the tools. Another one is the uplandoptimizer.com, and it's pretty similar. Again, it's a different UI layout, but you can search by city. You know, you can toggle things, price, USD, and you can scroll through and this, that, and the other thing. You can also toggle by collections. And there is also one other one that I'm aware of is the UpX Spark Exchange. You can look at city floors and that sort of thing. So that's kind of the, I don't know, the more in-depth way to do it.
Can I put a plug, not a plug?
Yes.
UpX World will have utility tools again in the near future, mid to near future.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something that's been lacking is that side of the development.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I can't get rid of this bloody pop-up. Let me reduce my screen size. Maybe that will help. No, I still can't get it. Gotta love pop-ups.
You have your screen all up in your face. That's what it is.
Yes. All right. So yeah, it's one of those things where you can do by the city price. This will show you the floor price. It's not going to show you the markup price. For markup price, you essentially have to use one of those online tools. Yes. And again, we've got another example here would be in Santa Clara. There's the Levi's Stadium. Well, you might just check the general floor of the North 101 neighborhood, which turns out it's a collection, and you might just list at the floor at that price. But if you have a property that's right next to the stadium, those properties are going to be far more valuable. So what I usually do, if I've got something that I want to sell, I don't usually go to the tools unless, because I rarely sell for markup. I normally, if I'm trying to sell something, it's just because I want to make some quick UpX. So I just go by floor price. So I would usually check the neighborhood price, but I would always zoom in, like I'll try and zoom in here and just check what the property prices are around you. Like I might click on this one, you know, what's that? 222,000. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. If I clicked around and if the floor price here was 35,000 and everywhere around my property I'm clicking, they're in the hundreds. Well, there's something going on. It might be a node. It might be, you know, some little street project or whatnot. So I don't know. Anybody got anything else to add there?
I hold all of mine like a dope. So
Hodl for the win. Yeah.
paddle for the win.
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson that I learned is, and Fincy's marked, yeah, you might be near parks, you might be on the waterfront, you might be on a highway, and that sort of thing. It might be a certain shaped property. There's so many factors that can go into what somebody might want to pay for it. And there's also the whole thing with marked properties. Yeah, I think the biggest lesson is don't rush and spend some time to do a bit of research and don't list too many at once, because then it's a bit of a pain in the butt. If the floor price is moving substantially, you don't want to be the knucklehead with 100 properties listed at 14K when you're holding down the floor and the real floor might actually be in the 20s. So flexibility. All right. Anybody else want to chime in? Vote for UpX Land from Option Guru. Yeah, I mean, each of those 3 sites, they all have their pros and cons. It's just what you get used to, what your preferences are. See how you go. And I'll just run through. Finsky's put some notes here together too. Where are we, Finman? Finsky said, pricing properties depends on many factors. The current market situation. Yeah, absolutely. And Pod said that as well. If you're in a bear market, that's going to pull everything down. Your strategy, your net worth, the area, the street where the property is, what the shape of the property is, how big it is, what constructions it can fit. Yep. Take advantage of stress tests during city launches and overall hype around releases before and after collection releases. Yeah, and a lot of that goes to having that very micro view. Know what's happening in the markets around you, and keep an eye on it, and not have too many listed for sale so that you can move with the market. And Finsky's being very nice here. He said one way is to price properties so the buyer has room for flipping as well. It may take more time for the buyer to flip it. It just totally depends how fast you want to sell it. Yeah, I mean, if you see the floor in a particular area is 15K, myself, I normally just undercut that a tiny bit, so I'll go to 14,900. A lot of people will just look at the base UPEX price and just buy it. But yeah, some people will use the tools and list for the markup price, but depends. If you want to sell really fast, I mean, if it was a 15K floor, if you put that at 10, 11, 12, good chance that's going to move pretty quickly. Just depends what your strategy is.
Yeah, that's another thing, is the time that I have to wait. I'm kind of impatient, so I put it at the bare floor usually, and to sell it quick. I don't sell much, but I know that's a guaranteed quick sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love his
thanks for jumping in,
background.
BC.
That's not patience. I don't know. Some people can leave it there forever for sale, but I don't know. I'm like, geez, I hold everything.
Well, that's one of the things that I do too. I'll put some prices in neighborhoods as just a price that I want to see, and if I get one of those sales pop off, well, then I know the market's moving. So, yeah, it's a good thing. And yes, Option Guru has noticed BC for Fun's outdoor toilet. We did mention that in the Wine and Cheese show. It's very cool. One extra little tip that I think we talked about in the last week's show that Nubex and a few other people do, especially in that vanilla period between the city release and collection reveal. If you're somebody who wants to flip out of those properties, but you're going to kick yourself if it happens to have been a collection, well, price it at the price that you would be happy to sell at as if it was a collection. So then that way you can't really go wrong. Don't look back. That's what I do.